ज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूप कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकम्। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरु श्रीयुतपदकमलं श्रीगुरुं वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगण रघुनाथादितं तं सजीवम् साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादान् सहगण ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च नम ॐ विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिन्निति नामिने नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देश तारिणे हे कृष्णा करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधु जगतपते गोपेश गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमस्तुते तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्येव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा. So welcome to the Srimad Bhagavatam thematic series. Today we are having this discussion in ISKCON Greater Kailash 3 Center. We are very fortunate also some devotees are here with us to hear this discussion. And the online devotees also are here. So if you remember the whole series of discussion, what we are having in this Bhagavatam is the 6 answers to the questions of the sages of Naimisharanya. The questions were 6 put by the sages, which is in chapter 1. And Sut Goswami starts answering these answers in the second and the third chapter in brief. Whereas the 6 answers are the entire 12 cantos of the Srimad Bhagavatam. But in brief, it is in chapters 2 and 3 of the first canto. Sut Goswami first offers his respectful obeisances to Sukadeva Goswami, his spiritual master. Then to the scripture which he is going to recite, Narayan Namaskritya. He thanks the sages, Muniyo Sadhu Prushtoham, and then he begins to answer the first 2 questions. The first 2 questions were, what is the highest benefit for the whole humanity? Ekanta Shraya. And what is the essence of all scriptures? You have studied all the scriptures. What does the scripture, what is the essence? Sara Samudrita, what is the essence? By which Yenatma Suprasidati. And Suta answers as Savai Pumsam, Parodharma, and Vasudeva Bhagavati. So by practice of pure devotion, the Atma can be completely satisfied. Pure devotion. So these 2 verses, Suta has given answer, but the answer continues till verse number 22. So the essence of all the scriptures is practice pure devotion. Savai Punsan, Parodharma. And what is the highest benefit for the humanity? Ekanta Shraya, practice pure devotion. So in these 2 verses, 1 to 6 and 1 to 7, Savai Pumsam Parodharma and Vasudeva Bhagavati, he has answered. Now, In the last few classes, we have been discussing that 1 to 8, Dharma Sanishtita Pumsa, Vishwaksena Katasuya, Nodpad Yadi Ratim, Shrama Evahi, Kevalam. That if one is situated in Varnashram, but he has not developed attraction to hear Harikatha, then his performance of Varnashram duties is simply a wasted labor. Shrama Evahi, Kevalam. So by this, Sut Goswami is indicating that Varnashram is not Parodharma. He has already proved what is Parodharma in Savai Pumsan, Parodharma verse. But what is not Parodharma? By proving what is not, he is proving also what is Parodharma. When you say this is not, then he says it is not this, it is that. So in this series, we have been discussing that if Varnashram, if one is situated and doing his Varnashram duties, he is doing core activities of hearing and chanting, then that is the best vehicle by which he can attain pure devotion and attain the human goal of life. But if he is doing his Varnashram duties meticulously but has not developed taste for Harikatha, then his life is a waste. So Varnashram is not Parodharma. Dharmasya hi apavargasya. You practice the dharma with the goal of attaining prema. Apavarga. For bhakti, it is prema. For jnanis and yogis, they practice dharma for attaining liberation. Apavarga also means liberation. The jnanis and yogis, they do yama and niyama, the yogis, and the jnanis do their jnana sadhana, but to attain liberation. That is also apavarga. So both the jnanis, the yogis, and the devotees. In this, the devotees practice dharma in the form of hearing and chanting for attaining prema. For attaining prema. So that means they are following parodharma. And not for artha. Na arthaya arthopakalpate. Na artha dharma ekantasya. So even jnanis, yogis, and devotees, when they start practicing dharma, for the devotees, the dharma is what? Practicing sadhana bhakti. To attain what? Prema bhakti. Kriti sadhyad bhave sadhya. By practicing sadhana bhakti, you attain bhava bhakti. It is sadhya. But while practicing dharma, artha will come. Na arthaya artha. One who is dharma ekantasya, one who is one pointed in attaining prema, artha will come because that is the sequence. You practice dharma, artha will come. So the devotees, how do they use the artha? They use the artha in more propagating Krishna consciousness. If you have wealth, use that wealth in building a temple. Use that wealth in distributing books. Use that wealth to hold festivals. So artha will come with practice of sadhana bhakti. Please remember, many devotees I have asked, many devotees who were doing quite well in their material life, they came in touch with devotion and started practicing devotion. They started doing much better in their material life because they are practicing dharma. Wealth is going to. They are more prosperous compared to before. And kamasa na indriya priti. With artha, when artha comes, the tendency is to enjoy the senses. So kamasya na indriya priti. As long as you're living, just live for self-preservation. Jivasya tattva jigyasa. Life is meant for what? Tattva jigyasa. And what is that tattva? Vadanti tattva tattvedas. Tattvam yad jnanam advayam. Brahmeti paramatmeti bhagwaniti chapit. So that tattva definition is given in 1 to 11. So in the last few classes in our discussion, We saw Prabhupada's commentary on this verse and a very philosophical commentary by Vishwanath Chakra Thakur. And how to realize that tattva? What is the sadhana to realize that tattva is described in the next verse. Tat Shraddadana Munayo Jnana Vairagya Yuktaya Pashyanti Atmana Chatmani Bhaktya Shruti Prihata. So, connection between verse 11 and verse 12 is what? What is the sadhana to practice to realize that? Tattva, which is mentioned in the verse 11. So, in this connection, in the last class, we saw Prabhupada's commentary on 1 to 11. So, today we will discuss Vishwanath Chakra Thakur's commentary on verse number 12. As I mentioned, Vishwanath Chakra Thakur's commentary is a little philosophical and it helps us to understand the whole flow. Okay. So let's go to Vishwanath Chakra Thakur's commentary. 173. 173 number. One 73. Okay, devotees are also here in the temple also viewing the slides, so that's why we are sharing the slides also. Okay, so let's go to Vishwanath Chakra Thakur's commentary. Did you get it? Yeah, so each click, as I click, you'll have to click. Or you can come in the Zoom. I made you already co-host. Okay. Okay. So what is Vishwanath Chakra Thakur saying? This verse describes the practice to realize that tattva. Which is the tattva? The tattva is defined in the previous verse. So what is the practice to realize that tattva? The sages, Munaya. Tat Shaddadana, Munaya. So Munaya can refer to the Jnanis, the yogis, and the devotees. So Vishwanath Chakra Thakur says the sages, the Jnanis cultivating contemplation, the yogis and the devotees see that Jnana of three forms of bhakti. Three forms of bhakti. So the Jnanis are also doing sadhana to realize the tattva. The yogis are also doing sadhana to realize the tattva. The devotees are also doing sadhana to realize the tattva. So the Jnanis practice Jnana sadhana. There are the Jnana angas which they practice. In that also there is bhakti. There is a little element of bhakti. And that is bhakti which is Mishra bhakti, which we call as a Jnana Mishra bhakti. And because there is bhakti element in that Jnana, they'll get the fruit of liberation. Because Jnana cannot give liberation. The bhakti element which is present in the Jnana will give them liberation. But they will attain what? Brahman. Tattva is also Brahman. Brahmeti, Paramatmeti, Bhagwan. The yogis also practice Ashtanga Yoga, Yamaniyam, but there is also element of bhakti. So that element of bhakti itself will give the fruit of liberation for them. But they realize Tattva as Paramatma. The devotees practice exclusively bhakti. And they don't practice the angas of Jnana or Ashtanga. They only practice the angas of bhakti, that is hearing and chanting. And they will realize what? Bhagwan. They'll realize Bhagwan. So there are all these three are sages. Okay. Those who conceive of Jnana as Brahman realize Pashyanti, the Jiva, Atmana, as the Lord. Atman. Aham Brahmasmi. So Pashyanti Atmani Chatmanam. Pashyanti. They will realize that I am Brahman. So that's what they'll conceive. That is the Jnana. Tattvam. See, you Jiva are that, the Lord. So that is what they will realize. the Gyanis. Those who conceive the Lord as Paramatma see through meditation the Lord in the heart, Atmana, in their heart. So Atmana, Atman, Atmanam. So here in their heart, Atmani, they will see the Atmanam. So in their heart, they will see that the Lord is seated in the heart. Got the point? So there is two here. Whereas the Brahmans, they only see that I am that Lord. Brahman realization. Everything is one, homogeneous. Okay, that's their conception. Those who conceive of Bhagavan see Bhagavan, Atmanam, in the mind, Atmani, and also directly in front of them. They can directly see here Bhagavan, Gaurnitai. So once Prabhupada was giving a lecture in Australia, one temple. Suddenly one person got up. Swamiji, have you seen God? Prabhupada said, yes, but you are coming in between me and the Lord. Sit down. I want to take darshan. The Lord is there. So the devotees realize the Lord as Bhagavan in the heart. In their mind, they can see him and they can personally directly see him in the front. So have you seen God? Yes, you've seen. And when the sadhakas do sadhana bhakti and attain bhava bhakti, the Lord actually comes, gives darshan in front of his devotee's eyes because he has developed now the premanjan. He has developed the premanjan. Till then, you can always have continuous darshan of the Lord. Darshan. What is the meaning of darshan, you know? Darshan. Shan means a moment. And da means to dhyan. Dhyan, to meditate. Our mind is so fickle that when we come before the deities, instead of taking darshan from the heart, we open our camera, mobiles, and start taking pictures. Such an unfortunate situation. Because even for a moment, if you can fix your mind on the beautiful form of the Lord, you capture him in your heart, Krishna will capture your heart. Once you take that darshan and you go back and you meditate on that, ye yata mam prapadyante. Krishna will meditate on you. And Krishna's meditation is very deep. He'll capture your heart. And then you can continuously see the Lord in the heart. And our predicament is that not even for a moment we can fix our consciousness when we are taking the deity darshan. That's our problem. And thanks to this technology and mobile. There's a story of a fakir who was in Jaipur. Which temple is not Govindev, Madan Mohan, Karoli. So he was a fakir, Muslim saint, and he was well respected in the Muslim community and the Hindi community there. This is just few years back, not 100 years also, few years back. And he was serving in the judiciary department, court department, where they go and give the notice, right? So it happened that one day he had to deliver the notice to the temple of Madan Mohan. He had to go there now. So he was hesitating, Hindu temple, why I should go there? And, you know, in their belief, they don't accept the Murti form of the Lord, right? So he was very careful carrying that envelope from the court to go and deliver it to the Goswami. And he was very attentive that he'll not see towards the deity. But for one moment, he just had darshan of the deity. And suddenly, what did I do? He started condemning himself, and he just went, delivered the envelope, took the signature, and went away. So for one moment, he had darshan of Madan Mohan. And when he went back and slept, that image which he had captured, because he was very conscious not to see. And with that consciousness, he saw. And then in the night, Madan Mohan was giving him darshan. He's trying to, forget him, but Madan Mohan is image is coming. And he became what? Pagal. He became what? Pagal. He became mad in prema. And he became a great devotee and started singing bhajans spontaneously from the heart. And now he became transformed into a Vaishnava. Everyone in the entire city was condemning him, rejecting him. All the Muslims were rejecting him. You have left our dharma and what are you doing? So this was his situation. And now he wanted to come and take darshan. He was hankering, and the Hindus were not allowing him, and the Muslims were rejecting him. This is what Krishna does. When he gives his mercy, he will cut all your connections and make you helpless. So one day, Madan Mohan, whatever Pujari had offered Hoga in a silver thali, Madan Mohan picked up as a kid with that silver thali, went to this fakir. And the fakir was bewildered. Who is it? He did not. He thought that he said, Baba, you have not had anything. Take this. And he gave this. And he was also bewildered and he was in ecstasy. Then he came in the dream and told that tomorrow you get the thali back to my temple. And in the Goswami's dream, he came that tomorrow this mendicant is going to come, fakir, allow him to take darshan. Because he was very, very eager to take darshan because now he was already taking darshan in the heart. And he was rejected both by the Hindu community and the Muslim community. At last, he was very hesitating, carrying that plate. Now again they'll beat me. What they will do, I don't know. But the Goswami, right in the front entrance, along with the, you know, I don't know, the princely order there, they were waiting. And when he saw that these two people are waiting, my goodness, they are going to imprison me now. But the moment he came, they welcomed him, took him, escorted him, and he had the darshan. The Lord had stolen for him Mahaprasad and the plate, and he got the plate back. So this is darshan. So that's why we should have darshan of the deities with one pointed attention. And even for a moment, if you can capture, and a moment is for us, dharan is 12 seconds. That means we cannot hold an object even for 12 seconds. That's how our minds are agitated. So the Lord, as Bhagwan, we can see as Bhakta yogis. This is the point. And taste the sweetness of the Lord with their very eyes. You can taste the sweetness of the Lord with their very eyes. That is why when we go to take darshan, our philosophy is that we should not see with our eyes. We should see with the eyes of the pure devotees. Because the pure devotees, when they are standing and taking darshan, we should just see backside. We should be behind them. Just observe how they are taking darshan. And just looking into their eyes, you need not see the deities. Looking into their eyes, you take darshan, and the Lord is seeing that devotee, pure devotee. And because we are next to that devotee, Lord will also. Who followed this principle? Who did follow? Who followed this principle? Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself used to directly never see the Lord. is to stand next to the Garuda. Garuda is a pure devotee. The Lord is seeing him. I'll stand next to him. So this is the Siddhanta of how we should take darshan. Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, for 9 years and 4 months, he had built a kutir next to the bank of Ganga near his Gandharvika Giridhari temple. That's the headquarters of the Chaitanya Mutt. And he was chanting every day. How much? 3 lakh names. After Haridas Thakur, he was the only Acharya who has done that. And what was his prasad? How he used to honor prasad, do you know? Licking. He used to just put it on the ground and just like a cow licks, one lick, how much you can get, that's it. And he was managing the entire affairs of the Gaudiya Mutt sitting there. And when he used to come to take darshan of Gandharvika Giridhari, from the side he used to take darshan. He used to not go directly in front, from the side. And one person came, Arey, Maharaj, go in the front. Said, what did he say, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur? I don't want to see the Lord. The Lord should be seen by, the Lord should see. That is the real meaning of darshan. So we should see from the eyes of the pure devotees. That's why Prabhupada and Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur had that statement. Don't try to see the Lord, but serve in such a way that the Lord wants to see you. That is the real meaning of darshan. So I just elaborated a little because how to see Bhagwan as sadhakas. Because as siddhas, they can see everywhere. But sadhakas, how to see, that's the point. The sages realize the form of the Lord by bhakti, which is first heard from the Guru, Shuta, and then practiced, Griyata. So the sages realize the form of the Lord by bhakti. And you have to hear. And then you have to practice. You have to practice. One of the names of the Lord is Shruta Ikshita. What is the name of the Lord? Shruta Ikshita. Shruta means here. Ikshita means see. Iksha means. So you want to see the Lord, you have to hear about the Lord. Just by hearing, you can see the Lord. That is also darshan. Philosophy also means darshan. So you have to hear the philosophy. You have to hear Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam, Shruta Ikshita, and you start practicing the angas of bhakti. The word bhaktya is used with its conventional meaning, indicating hearing and chanting about the Supreme Lord, Bhagwan. So although this verse gives a practice for all sadhakas, jnanis, yogis, and bhaktas, but here specifically the word bhaktya is used. The word bhaktya is used indicating what? Hearing and chanting. The worshippers of Brahman and Paramatma must also perform bhakti directed to Bhagwan in order to perfect their own sadhanas. So in the 13th chapter, verse 8 to 12, there are the 20 items of knowledge for the Jnana sadhakas. Amanitvam, Adhamvitvam, Ahimsa, Shanti, Marjan, Acharya, Upasanam, Sairam, Atma, Vinigra, Indriyarteshu, Vairagya, Anankar, Evacha, Janmrityu, Jara, Vyadi, Dukkha, Doshanudarshanam, all these verses. Out of this 20 items, there is one item. Mai Chanan Yogena Bhakti Avyabhicharini. So they practice all the 20 items with one element of practice of bhakti. Those are worshippers of Brahman, the practice. So they must also perform bhakti to Bhagwan. So if the jnanis, commit offense to the form of the Lord, then they also fall down. Even if one has attained siddha, perfection in their jnana sadhana, if they become jivan mukt also, they will fall down. Anadrite yushmatangre patante adha. Ye anya arvindaksha. That verse is there. The 10th canto, second chapter, verse 30, I think, 30 or 31. So they also have to perform what? Bhakti towards Bhagwan by profiling that one limb of bhakti. But because they have a desire for liberation, they perform all the Jnananga limbs. For those who are devotees, they have to only perform bhakti. And they need not perform the limbs of Jnana or Ashtanga. Jnana and Vairagya mentioned in this verse are two sadhanas for Jnanis and Yogis only. Tat Shraddhadhana Munaya Jnana Vairagya Yuktaya. So, in the path of Jnana and Ashtanga, there are limbs of how one should attain Vairagya, renunciation. There are severe practices to attain detachment from this material world. So, they are limbs of what? Jnana sadhana or Ashtanga sadhana. But for devotees, no. Jnana and Vairagya are not the limbs of bhakti. In the Bhakti Rasamrit Sindhu, Rupa Goswami makes it very clear. Varnashram is not the limb of bhakti. And Jnana and Ashtanga, Jnana and Vairagya are not the limbs of bhakti. Very clearly, he makes it clear. So these two sadhanas are sadhanas are only for Jnanis and Yogi. For a devotee, these two arise only from bhakti and indicate the loving nature of bhakti. Because he loves the Lord, he strives to know the Lord and shows distaste for everything else. Since separate cultivation of Jnana and Vairagya are forbidden in pure bhakti. Vasudeve Bhagavati Bhakti Yoga Prayojit. Janeti Ashu Vairagyam Jnanam Yat Tad. So when we become attached to the Lord, to the spiritual form of the Lord, naturally we'll become detached to the material forms. There is no separate endeavor required to become detached from the material forms. Material forms, even for a sadhaka, attract. So if you keep on trying to negate that, then you're going in the path of what? Jnana and Vairagya. That is why Bhaktivinoda Thakur, in his articles of Atyahara Prayasa, he says Karma Prayas, Jnana Prayas, Vairagya Prayas, Ashtang Yoga Prayas. All these are pratikul to bhakti. Only a devotee should do bhakti prayas. A little endeavor in bhakti, that is sufficient, he says. But sometimes even devotees, and especially those who are, in the ashram, sometimes start practicing too much of vairagya prayas. It is a very subtle thing. Instead of becoming more attached to practices of the limbs of bhakti, they start, doing more of renunciation. But renunciation is a natural product of bhakti. It should naturally come. This is a very important point. So it naturally comes. And till then, till we come to that point of pure devotion, there has to be a balance. That's why it is mentioned forbidden in pure. It is forbidden in pure bhakti. Now he gives references to this statement. He gives references from the Lord himself, from the Uddhav Gita. Tasman mad bhakti yuktasya yogino vai madatmana न ज्ञानम न च वैराग्यम प्राय श्रेयो भवेत इह. Tasman, therefore, for a devotee engaged in my loving service, mad bhakti yuktasya yoginavai, with mind fixed on me, mad atmana. The cultivation of knowledge and renunciation is generally not the means. Na jnanam na cha vairagyam praya, for achieving the highest perfection in this world. Shreyo bhavet iha. So the Lord himself is saying, no need of practicing jnana and vairagya. But please remember here, mad bhakti yuktasya is engaged in my loving service. This refers to specially pure devotion. Here bhakti refers to practice of pure devotion. Or by mentioning Gyan, Vairagya, and Bhakti, the verse can express the idea that the devotees can realize through Bhakti all the three aspects of Lord Brahman, Paramatma, and Bhagwan. So, this verse now Vishnu Chakra Thakur is analyzing from a different angle. Jnana and Vairagya is not required for those who are practicing Shuddha Bhakti. Or there is Jnana Vairagya Yuktaya. And in the last line of the verse, it is Bhaktya Shruti Grihita. So all three are mentioned, Jnana, Vairagya, and so he gives another meaning that by practice of bhakti, one will realize Brahman, Paramatma, as well as Bhagavan. All the three aspects. So those who are practicing Gyan, they can only realize Brahman. Those who are practicing Ashtanga, the yogis, they can realize Brahman and Paramatma. They cannot realize Bhagavan. But those who are practicing bhakti, they can realize Brahman, Paramatma, and Bhagavan. All the three aspects. Now, this is again a very elaborate topic and will not go into it, but sufficient here. Some who have that particular faith, Tad Shraddhadana, develop the desire to realize all the three forms. Some who have that particular faith, Shraddhadana, they will realize all these three forms. Then by bhakti, they can see all the three forms. They can see all the three forms. Thus, the goals of the sadhanas of Gyan and Yoga for realizing Brahman and Paramatma will be accomplished only by bhakti. Only by bhakti. Okay, so this is here I've summarized. Aspect of the absolute truth, Atmani, is Brahman. And the person, Pashyati Atmanam, these are the Jnanis. I am the Lord. Tattvam, see, realize. And the aspect of the absolute truth, Atmani, is Paramatma. The yogis realize that in my heart there is the Lord, my heart. So there are two there. There is just awe and reverence. Oh, the Lord is, is the Paramatma. He is the creator of this universe. There is just awe and reverence. That's it. Shant. This is Shantarati. And then for the devotees, Atmani is Bhagwan. The persons are Pashyanti Atmana are the devotees. Okay. So we will take the next verse, but before that, any questions on this, what we have discussed? Okay, Birendra Yadav has a question. Yes, Birendra Yadav Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu Dandatam. Prabhu, in case of Gyani and Yogi,
The audio is not working. I think yesterday my system, there is some technical error. And that's why yesterday also I could not use the audio for some reason. Let me see if something can be done. Second. Okay. Yes, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu, am I audible now?
Now you're audible, yes.
Prabhu, in case of Gyani and Yogi, you mentioned that they also practice limba bhakti in along with their sadhana.
Correct.
So, in case of their bhakti, what is the object of their worship in case of Gyani and Yogi? It is Brahman and Paramatma? Or?
Yes, they are fixed in their goal of moksha, liberation.
Right.
So they are fixed in that goal and they practice this also one limb. And they think that they are practicing all the Gyan sadhana to attain liberation, but actually that bhakti element which is there in their Gyan sadhana, that bhakti element gives the fruit of liberation. Gyan itself cannot give the fruit of liberation. And in fact, in the Uddha Gita, Jnanam Chama mat sannyasat, something that verse he says, that one should also, at the time of liberation, the jnanis have to give up that jnana, because jnana is sattva. It's a vidya potency. They have to give up that jnana. And although they practice the jnana sadhana, they have to give up that jnana and that bhakti element which is there in that jnana. With that bhakti element, they attain liberation. With that bhakti element, they attain the liberation. So that's a understanding which is given by our acharyas and Prabhupada. Is it okay?
Yes, true. So their object of worship will be Bhagwan feature or Brahman or Paramatma, how it is.
You see, the we don't have any idea because we have not met these kind of gyanis in the
Right.
Himalayas
Right.
and interacted.
Right. Right.
So usually, you know, their attraction is towards those Upanishads verses which speak about the absolute truth, who is all pervading. You know, and although they know that Rama and Krishna come and perform leelas, you know, they don't have attraction towards it. They don't have attraction, but they don't offend them also, and they think that these leelas are maya. If they think these leelas are maya, then they commit offense. So then they fall down. So they know that these attractive pastimes the Lord does, but being absorbed in the bliss of Brahman Gyan, then they are attracted to that, and that's why they practice that sadhana. They practice that sadhana, and that's why they attain that goal because they have that desire. They are mokshakami, and the mokshakama desire is very strong. Only if they come in touch with a pure devotee, then their attraction towards the you know Lord might awaken. Only if they come in touch with a pure devotee. So there, just to give an example, in in Jaiva Dharma, Bhaktivinoda Thakur begins his whole novel discussion where there is in Banaras a sannyasi in the renounced order, and he has traveled to all the holy places. He has studied all the Shad Darshans and practiced the that Vairagya and Sannyas for 30-40 years, and is fixed, and he's sitting in his kutir, and suddenly he happens to see a premi bhakta, just running, hey Radhe, hey Vraj Deviki, hey Krishna, and just having this darshan, he experiences the ecstasy in his heart. And he said, I have practiced so many years of sadhana, and I have not relished this nectar by just seeing this sadhu. And he understands that this is a Vaishnava sadhu, but he is hesitating to meet him because his strict practice of that sadhana is not allowing him, but that ecstasy he has experienced something higher just because of the darshan of a sadhu. And then you know he gives up his practices and starts searching that sadhu, and ultimately he lands up in Mayapur, and in Mayapur he meets a pure Vaishnava there, and then he mentions, oh sage, I have practiced the sannyas order, traveled in all the holy places, studied the Shad Darshan. I have some questions. Then he asks questions, philosophical questions on tattva. The highest tattva, absolute truth, is revealed. And then he develops that attraction. So these jnanis also, by practice of that jnana sadhana, they are relishing some higher bliss. And because they have that goal, they are experiencing Brahmananda. But superior to Brahmananda is a Premananda or Seva Ananda, Bhakti Ananda. But once they come in touch with the superior thing, then can give up the inferior thing. Otherwise, according to even the Vedas, the highest goal is what? Dharma, Artha, Kama, and Moksha. The Panchama Purusharth, how bhakti is superior to even liberation, that how prema is superior to even the bliss of Brahman, is not known to them. But from a dharma perspective, this is the highest. From the bhakti perspective, this is the worst. It is condemned by our acharyas, right? It is compared to what? Hellish. Yes, that's what Prabhupada says. So, the experiences of even what a Jnani is experiencing at the rasa, the form of Brahmananda, that we cannot even imagine because we are still conditioned now. So that kind of experience he is going through, and only by coming in touch with a pure devotee, he'll get that attraction. And the classic example is Sukadeva Goswami. Parinishthitopi Nairgunya Uttama Shloka Leelaya Grihita Chetasa Rajrishe Adya. What is that last line? Adyapan Aditavan, something like that. Parinishthitopi Nairgunya. I was fixed beyond the three modes, Nairgunya. But Uttama Shloka Leela, when I heard the Uttama Shloka Leela, Grihita Chet, my consciousness got attracted. And then I studied the Bhagavatam. So that is the beauty of pure devotion. We'll take one more question from here and then we'll take from the audience who are sitting with us. Somebody else also had raised their hand. Okay, there's a question. Can we say that the Gyanis are relishing Shantaras? Not really, because in Brahman there cannot be there's no relationship there. There's no relationship there. Because I am that Lord. That is the Tattvamasi is there. So there's no relationship there. I'll just give an example. Like we are Tatastha Shakti. We are the Tatastha Shakti of the Lord. Just like next to the ocean, there is the sand, on the beach, right? That is like the Tata. So one side of the ocean is the Bhava Sagar, the ocean of birth and death, which we are caught up in. And we have been, always devoured by the Timingala, the fishes, all these sharks, always suffering the miseries because we have these gross and subtle bodies, right? So the Gyanis become free from Jan Mrityu Jara Vyadhi. No, no birth, no old age, no death, and no disease because they're free from gross and subtle bodies. They are like, you're continuously, just imagine 15, 20 days you're drowning in the ocean. Huh? You're caught up in the ocean and suddenly you come out to a bank. How will you feel? Liberated. What a bliss you'll feel. I recently somewhere read that, some person was drowned in the ocean while going in a ship and he survived for 45 days somehow. Then he was rescued. So similarly, for millions of years, you have been suffering the miseries of material existence. And by practice of that sadhana, you no more have a gross and subtle body. It's like you're sitting on the bank. No gross body, no subtle body. You're not in the ocean of Bhavasagar. So there's no rasa. But on the other side of the ocean is the Bhakti Rasamrit Sindhu, the ocean of loving devotionship with the Lord, where you have a spiritual body, where there is relationship and there is relishment of rasa, which begins from Shanta Ras. It's neutral, just neutral, it's Shant Ras. I have awe and reverence for the Lord. Yo mam pashyati sarvatra, sarvam cha mahi pashyati. I am conscious that the Lord is seeing me, and I am conscious also that the Lord is seeing me, and I'm also conscious that the Lord is seen by me. This is it. That's it, the relationship. Like I and our devotee Ajit Govind Prabhu, we are close friends. No? So I just see him and he's just seeing me. That's it. No? There's no exchange happening. But we start discussing Krishna Katha, or we start sharing Prashadam together. Then there is exchange happening. So the least level is the Shantras. And even Shantras is, you know, it's there is a higher understanding. There is a beginning of rasa, whereas for Gyanis, there is no rasa. The Gyanis have no gross and subtle bodies where they have material impetus to perform actions. Nahi kashchit kshanamapdi jatu tishtat akarmakrit. Karate havasha sarve prakritir jairgunir. They are impelled by the modes to do action in this world. Everyone is impelled by the modes. So they have material impetus to do actions. Neither they have spiritual impetus to do actions out of love. The spiritual impetus will come from the where? From the soul. The material impetus comes from the subtle bodies, vasanas. So the Gyanis neither have material impetus nor spiritual impetus. So that's their situation. Very pitiable situation, which is the highest aspiration, moksha. Okay. Is it clear, Prabhuji? Yeah. Any other questions here online? Okay. So our devotee here, Ajit Govind Prabhu, has a question. We'll take up that. Yes, Prabhuji.
Gandhi realized that feature of the Supreme Lord.
Yes.
And then for Ashtanga Yogi's Sat and Chit both, and then Bhakta Sachidananda. So in Brahman realization, we have the feeling of eternity.
Yes.
That is the thing they really relish, and
Yes.
that is free of ideal condemnation. They like it a lot.
Yes.
And they really feel realized that way. So this is one thing I want to just clarify. And the second, my question is, Brahmavadis, they are in person Brahman. So unless they commit offense to the form of the Lord, they don't become Mayavadis, and hence they don't fall down.
Okay.
Just
Yeah. The question is that the Gyanis realize the Sat feature of the absolute truth, which is Brahman. Actually, Brahman is Satchidananda. Paramatma is Satchidananda. Bhagavan is Satchidananda. But the Gyanis, because they are only able to access the Sat feature of the Lord, because it is Advaya. It is that one thing seen as differently. It's only one thing. The absolute truth is one, Advayam. It's non-dual. But because they are far away from the absolute truth, they are only able to realize the Sat feature. And we gave this example in our previous classes. The deities are there in front of us, but I have myopic vision. You need 6 by 6 vision to see the deities. But I have -10 lens. When I come in front, I just see blur everything. Then my vision is a little better. I come a little near. I can see not the entire form of the deity, but I can see that there are some ornaments, something lightly I can see. But then I have full 6 by 6 vision. And right, I can see the beautiful form of the Lord. So we are seeing that one thing only. It's that one Advaya. But for a person who is far off with blur vision, he's seeing only light. Something blur, that's it. So Brahman is Satchidananda, Paramatma is Satchidananda, and Bhagavan is Satchidananda. But the Gyanis can only access Sat feature. The yogis can access only Sat and Chit feature. Whereas devotees can realize the complete Sat Chid Anand feature of that. Are you getting this one?
Brahma, person Brahman is also Sachidananda.
Yes.
Anand is also
Yes.
coming from the Supreme.
It's that one thing, but they are able to access only the Sat feature. Brahman is also Satchidanand. That's the point. It's Satchidanand. Is it clear? Okay. One more question here. GS Priya Mataji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam. Actually, sorry, I missed some of your explanations. If possible, in short, I just want to know, I understood about Jnani that they neither have material impetus nor spiritual impetus. In short, can I just know about the yogis and the
The
bhaktas?
yogis, because that's a beginning. Reciprocation means there has to be two. There has to be two. So the yogis realize that I am there, and in my heart, the Lord is also there. So there are two. I am perceiving him, he is perceiving me. So there is only just perception happening. Yo mam pashyati sarvatra sarvam cha mahi pashyati. And that seeing na pranashanti. It is not cut at any time. I'm always conscious that the Lord is perceiving me in the heart, and also conscious that the Lord is, I'm seeing the Lord, and the Lord is seeing me. That's it. But still, that development of reciprocation, where although there is two, the development of reciprocation in the form of service, has not happened in that of service. Because only when we start serving, then there is the development of rasa in the form of shanta and dasya. Sorry, dasya and sakya and vatsalya. So that's how the development happens. So there is just perception. That's it. And because they have the desire for liberation, because the desire is very strong, although they are able to see the Lord, they are able to see the beautiful features of the Lord, and they are relishing a higher bliss. It is explained in the Kapil Shiksha in the chapter 28 of third canto, how these yogis are, having a crooked heart. Badisha is a hook. Their heart is like a hook. Although in their heart they are relishing and they are seeing the Lord, they are seeing the beautiful Lord, and tears of ecstasy are coming in their eyes. But just like what is a hook? When you put a hook, fishing hook, you know, uh, and the fish is caught, the fish tries to come out. So the yogi's heart are like that hook. Although the Lord they are seeing and they're relishing this nectar of the beauty and ecstasy and transformations they're experiencing, but they want to come out. They remove they withdraw themselves from this beautiful darshan in order to merge in the Lord. So the yogis, they merge in the body of the Lord, and that is called as Ishwar Sayuj. The Jnanis merge in the effulgence of the Lord, which is called as Brahma Sayuj. So that's the subtle difference. Okay. There is one more hand raised. Priya Mataji. Yeah, it's Ravikant Prabhuji. Yes.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam. Prabhuji, my question was the same, how the realization reciprocation happened with the Jnanis. And so I understood your explanation very well. On top of that, the bhaktas realize the service attitude. Service attitude will be there. And the reciprocation will be on two ways. Two ways. And there will be a rasa in between, right? Is it correct?
Yes, at the beginning of our spiritual life, when we come in touch, devotees will engage us in some menial service, and you can see that there is a relation built. And next time the devotee comes, Prabhuji, what service I can do for you? Because he's relishing in Dasya Ras, that some nectar. That's why he's again ready to come and do service. So although we might not realize it even many years, but it is happening gradually. There is a relishment of Dasya Ras. So that's how it grows gradually. Okay. So I think there's one more last question. Can you repeat the question? What devotees are asking there? Yeah, I repeated the question and then I answered it. Okay. Yes, Taurappa Prabhuji, last question we'll take up for the day.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu Dandvat. Prabhu, you
Yes.
said that renunciation is the byproduct of bhakti.
Yes.
So, at which level of bhakti this renunciation comes automatically?
Yes, that we discussed in our 1 to 7 class that initially when we come to bhakti, Rupa Goswami mentions Jnana and Vairagya might be a little helpful in the beginning stages, very beginning. Like initially, when the devotees join the ashram, they might, whatever they might have a little opulence, some vehicle, something they'll donate it to the temple. And then they start practicing. Or the devotees in the Grahasth ashram, they might start giving donations. They are attached to spending it for personal purpose, but they start giving donations. So like that, little Vairagya is in the beginning stages is helpful. But we just concentrate on practicing the limbs of bhakti, and gradually, the renunciation will come naturally. But actually, Janeti Ashu Vairagyam, that verse mentions, at the stage of bhava, there is complete detachment, which never comes back again. So that's why even many devotees sometimes don't understand that after 15, 20 years we are practicing, we know that we are still attached to this material world, deeply attached. Why it is? We are not focusing on practicing Shuddha Bhakti, because if you practice Shuddha Bhakti, then detachment will come naturally. And at what stage it will come, we should know that. So it's very clear that it is at the stage of bhava. And sometimes hearing the classes, practicing the limbs of bhakti, we feel a little detachment, but again the attraction is strong towards Maya. So we are going back and forth, swinging, oscillating back and forth, because still anarth nivritti has not happened. So this struggle will continue, and that renunciation is not fully because of realized knowledge. The gyan has completely not fructified in the heart in the form of vigyan. So when that realization is complete and deep, then naturally that renunciation happens. And the gyan, it's not like a digital thing. Gyan suddenly one day will become, one day morning when you get up, everything will become vigyan. No, it is like, we have, 10% vigyan, and we are acquiring gyan about bhakti, practice of bhakti. Slowly, slowly that vigyan, when it fully matures, and that happens, uh, gradually, and it is fully realized in the stage of bhava. Bhidyante hriday granthis, chindante sarva samshaya, shiyante chas. No, not this verse. Evam prasanna manaso bhagavat bhakti yogata bhagavat tattva vigyanam. So there it has been used not jnanam as vigyanam. There it is mentioned as Bhagavan. Evam prasanna manaso is, the stage of bhava. And bhagavat tattva, no, evam prasanna manaso bhakti, bhagavat bhakti yogata. That bhakti yoga is bhava bhakti. Bhagavat tattva vigyanam mukta sangasya jayate. You have become free from the modes. So, but it happens also gradually and fully. It is realized at the stage of bhava. Is it clear? Okay, so we will stop here. Time is up, and you can send your questions in the group. I will answer in the group now because time is up. Thank you very much. Srila Prabhupada ki, Granth Raj Srimad Bhagavatam ki, Jai. Hare Krishna.